Brickies. It's Dr. Buffington here today to talk to you about a career pathway that I want to shed some light on here at the high school. And I have some special guests today, and I'm going to get into what this is all about really quickly here. I have Miss Morrow and I have Mr. Solage, and we'll get into their background here in just a little bit. What I want to talk to you today is about computer science. And the reason why I want to talk to you about that is because not a lot of students are choosing this pathway, and I cannot figure out why. But perhaps you need to know a little bit more information about it. So what I wanted to start off with just kind of talking to you a little bit about is just my own personal background in technology. You know, obviously I have a PhD, and a lot of you ask me about that. And my PhD is in curriculum and administration, and I have a technology minor out in that degree. But my master's degree is in instructional design, and it's heavily equipped with technology. And so when you think about that, here's something that you probably don't realize is that I did an internship with Apple Computer, and it was one of the best experiences that I ever had. And so being on the backside of computer software design, looking at the networking aspects of things, and just being a part of that workforce was so exciting. But I'm an educator at heart. So I didn't stay there, but I loved it. But it helped me understand the importance of technology and all the job applications, particularly today. And so I can't stress enough to you the demand for people that have these technology backgrounds and just about everything that we do today. You know, we've been trying to reinvent our high school for a very long time. We have all of these dual credit early college classes, if you would, and you can leave here with a lot of college credit, and then you don't have much longer to finish a degree that puts you out in the workforce. So once again, I'm appealing to you with the concept of there's lots of jobs to have in computer science. So our job here is to talk to you about it today. And specifically, now it's taken a whole different turn with AI, and that's exciting as well. So what's next here? We're going to be talking about this pathway, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what it is. So there are actually two pathways in computer science. We're going to be looking at software development and information technology operations. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to meet the teachers of these pathways and get a little more into what they see for the future of these pathways. So first and foremost, we have software development, and that programming is primarily with Ivy Tech and early college credits. You would be doing principles of computing, website and database development, software development. Pathway 2, information technology operations. You take that prerequisite course no matter what, which would be principles of computing. Then you get into IT fundamentals. Then you get into networking and cybersecurity operations. I can tell you right now the demand for cybersecurity is huge. And so job opportunities exist. They don't exist for people that don't go into the profession. And so I'm here to talk to you about it because I think that you're missing an opportunity to have great possibilities of a workforce, of a career path in this particular field. So I do want to mention, if you do go the IT operations side of it, not only is that prerequisite class, Principles of Computing with Ivy Tech, but then we transition you to Purdue. And so you're going to learn a lot about that today because it's another pathway with a university that you pick up and you finish your degree at Purdue. So that's pretty exciting for us today. So we're going to get started with Mr. Solage and Miss Morrow. Miss Morrow is going to be married. She'll be changing her name. What's your name going to be after you get married?
Doling.
Doling. So don't be surprised if you do end up going into this pathway. That's what it will be the next time around. All right. So let's start off with you, Miss Morrow, and then we'll go on to you, Mr. Solage. can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you went to school, how you got into computer science, and how you ended up here? So let's start with you.
Absolutely. So I grew up not too far from here, Hebron, Indiana. Grew up in a farming family, super close, tight-knit community. And schooling there was great, fantastic, but we didn't have the dual credit opportunities like we do here at Hobart. So it wasn't until I got to college down at Indiana University where I discovered what computer science is and that it is a fulfilling career and there's tons of jobs out there, like you said. So I graduated from there. I worked as a technology consultant / analyst for a few years for a consulting firm. I really enjoyed working there, super rewarding experience, really grateful for the experience I had there. But I had realized that something was missing. And I think that when I was in school, I had caught the teaching bug. I was an undergrad instructor and a peer tutor when I was in college, and I really, really enjoyed that. And I, looked back really fondly on that. So I kind of decided I want to follow my passion, use the experience and skills that I gained to kind of pay it forward and help prepare and educate the next wave of IT professionals. So that's what brought me here.
Yeah, that's great. And I was so excited about that she did have this incredible background in computer science, and then she wants to teach. And so obviously I'm an educator. That was very exciting to me. And we're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
How about you, Mr. Solage?
So I started in IT and technology at Hobart. I'm a
In
Hobart,
high school.
In high school. I'm a Hobart graduate, class of 2016. So I started and I was in a lot of the PLTW courses actually because not as many opportunities existed with IT. And what eventually led me to taking courses at Purdue. I went to Purdue Northwest. I graduated there in 2020. I got a bachelor's of science in computer information technology. And I started getting really interested in the back end of things from school, starting in high school. And I was really into broadcasting, gaming, all the stuff that students are really into now even. But it was emerging then. And if anything, I just got really fascinated with how everything worked, how, we use these devices every day, what's behind all of it. And it just led me to a career field that I'm super passionate about and very interested in. And I'm happy to now, starting here right out of school, basically, as soon as I graduated, within the year, I started in the field at Hobart at Hobart Middle School, actually, is where I was technically hired as a technician. And that has only accelerated my path in this field to now eventually teach as a cybersecurity and networking instructor. And it's been a tremendous opportunity to learn more about it, not only because I'm teaching kids and reinforcing what I learned, but learning it as it emerges and the new technologies, new developments as they go, because it's not slowing down.
I do think that that's fascinating about both of you. And I would just say, in terms of all of us, growing and learning, we're constantly having to do that. And so a lot of times people think they're going to get out of school and that's the end of it. And it truly isn't. We're constantly having to learn and to stay, to be experts in the profession that we're in.
Absolutely.
And so, Nathan or Mr. Solage, obviously he works in our technology department, and we really do depend on his expertise for cybersecurity. He's terrific at what he does. And so just being out in the field for you and bringing that knowledge base in is so important. So I can't say enough about having you on staff to do these important jobs. Why should students, our brickies, think about exploring computer science and what makes it cool? So we'll start with you this time, Mr. Solage, then we'll move over to Ms. Morrow.
What I was already touching on this, but what I think makes it cool is it's emerging. Everything, the developments that we see, everything we use is technology based almost nowadays. And whether it be applications you use on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the school you're going to using technology to reinforce and embellish learning, it's just everything about our world is deep diving into technology. And like all of us at Hobart High School and Hobart in general, let's get ahead of the curve. And I think what's so cool about it is that we're expanding opportunities. Like I said, I started in a lot of the engineering courses, and now we're developing computer science pathways like the two that were mentioned. And it's just, you can find anything you like in this field if you take the time to search and explore it, because there's just so much. And everybody uses technology, and it's so customizable that there is, opportunity in all these pathways, in my opinion. And I'd love to illuminate that for students here.
I hope so, because really, I mean, all of you are probably avid users. It's just that the back end or the analysis and how to develop software, those are so industry driven, and there's just not enough people going into computer science. Again, why I have them here. How about you, Ms. Morrow?
Touching a little bit on what he said, right? Technology is so ingrained into our everyday lives. Every business out there today is using some sort of technology to support their business or software, right? And it's also not just about, keeping the business running. We can also touch on solving big complex problems like access to healthcare and education, climate change, hunger, world hunger, stuff like that. And these jobs pay really well too. So it's not just about keeping the lights on and running the business. It's about, solving these cool problems. And I think that's really cool to, help people and, solve all these problems out there in the world.
There's definitely an analytical side to this that people don't really see. And it is pretty cool because you are solving very complex problems with the data sets that you have. What do you love most about computer science classes, and what's the best part for you? So we'll start with you.
I think what I love most about it is that not many people know this, but it's actually a really creative field, and it's all about problem solving. So it's really cool to see a student write their first line of code and then go on to create a video game or an app. It's really rewarding for me. And kind of how you touched on earlier, technology is always changing, it's always evolving. So it's also really fun for me to continue learning along with my students.
I've seen some students that have created some pretty great apps. And so if you're interested in that, I mean, that's a pretty cool thing. How about you?
So what I love about teaching, and like I said, everybody can find their niche or their pocket in computer science, in my opinion, because once again, everybody uses these devices and technology. But what I love is networking, and I mean it on a traditional level, like bringing people together on a mutual basis, a shared interest. And that only gets heightened when I'm doing the actual networking of a system where I'm bringing together devices so people can interconnect and work together. Once again, to touch on what Morgan said, you're solving big problems all because of the use of technology that's interconnected in some things that I teach about in the fundamentals of networking. And it's so cool to watch, everybody's brains click and the students learn about stuff they use every day, but didn't really know the underlying, infrastructure or the systems that are at play. And I think it's just made me love learning about it, but also love teaching people about it and showing them just how cool all these systems are.
I think that you bring up a great point. The back end, the infrastructure, and just the cybersecurity changes that have happened over the course of the last 5 years is fascinating. And so you can get a jump start on that here at the high school. How do the skills you learn in these courses help land you an awesome job? Can you share some examples of what you see as high-paying careers in this field? We'll start with you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that. Wait, sorry. What was the question? I lost my train of thought. Go on.
There you go.
Ask it one more time.
So the skills that you're going to learn in the classes that we're teaching, and if you further on.
Yes.
And so.
Yes.
What kind of examples of high-paying or just career opportunities do they have if they get into your classes?
If you go to any job board right now online, you're going to see tons and tons of IT jobs out there. Almost virtually every single company, right, is hiring IT people for their jobs. And they're not only in demand, but they pay really well too, like I said. And so students could go on to, building software for a music producer. They could go on to build software for a doctor or a farmer who wants to, grow crops more efficiently, right? So again, there are tons of jobs out there. And the fact that these students are, learning these skills early, it sets them up for not only a stable career, but a really fulfilling one too. So yeah, and like I said, the fact that they're taking these classes early, they're getting a head start, and it's going to make them, even more prepared for college when they get there.
I think that you bring up such a good example because over at St. Mary's, for example, a lot of our students go over and do rounds and learning about different healthcare careers that they might pursue in the medical field. but they lose sight of the fact that the hospital has every position that you could ever think of, and their IT department is huge. That's like almost every company today has their own IT department, and they're dependent on people to help run it. So again, I can't stress this enough. It's a great field to get into.
Yeah. I interned with the hospital Franciscan, so I interned in their IT department. So it's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, I could put a plug in for other careers that are besides medical. They have their own security, criminal justice. I mean, like we could go on forever. Their own food service department, their own custodial engineer program. But I'll get back to computer science. All right, Mr. Solich, how about you?
So what I would say is the courses we teach at Hobart High School, these computer science courses, deliver a technical and nuanced skill set to students that they're going to learn and be able to enter into these fields and approach jobs that are, like Morgan said, very fulfilling. And two examples I could give just off the cusp for the classes I teach of high-paying, fulfilling jobs would be like something like a network engineer. And I've done this here at the high school and in several of the buildings within the district where we're, once again, working in the infrastructure, running cable, making sure connections are made to every device that is under the sun, because every day we're adding stuff to our fleet.
Switches, wireless access points.
And just distributing it all throughout the district so we can have a seamless operation. And that is something that, once again, happens in almost any business. You need this connectivity and availability of a network anywhere. And that's what like a network engineer would be responsible of, that physical installation and upkeep and maintenance. And then on the more software or technical side, I can think of like a cybersecurity analyst.
Right.
You can go and look at a huge collection of logs and data that is provided for, let's say, just a company or a business. And there's a lot to unearth from that, whether it be, bad practice and insecure practice, insecure protocol, all these different things that the specialist might know, but needs to bring forward to their enterprise so they can properly secure that data. And even if that's not necessarily the pathway, like the business side of it that students are interested in, I think you brought up like criminal forensics. Cybersecurity is very, very real with tracking people in their digital use and how it links to the crimes that are committed and things like that. And you wouldn't believe how much these devices give away. And there are trained specialists that absolutely utilize everything they know to track down events like that criminals use a device and they're not maybe consciously aware of just how many breadcrumbs they're leaving. And there are specialists, once again, that pick up on that and are used every day to expose criminals like that. So the cyber forensics field is just another high-paying, fulfilling job that I can think of.
I think that you shed great light on that. Cybersecurity today is just so expansive.
Right.
So thank you for sharing that with us. So you have kids that have taken some of your classes. We're trying to talk to other students that don't know much about them, and you've shed some light on them. So what would you say if you were going to give some advice about coming to take your classes and signing up for classes next school year? What advice would you offer?
I would say be patient with yourself. Don't get too frustrated, or don't be too hard on yourself if you make mistakes or if you're not getting the concepts right away. Computer science and coding, it can be a little intimidating and challenging at first for some students.
I actually hear kids that are like, I'm not smart enough, or what's that all about? Right. Of course you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I have heard that. Like they're nervous.
Everyone has to start somewhere, though.
Yeah, they're nervous that they're going to take a class that they don't think that they can do. And so that's absolutely not true.
No,
that's why
it's
you
for
have
everyone.
That's why you have teachers, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
I would say give me a chance. The class is great. I think that, once again, these aren't opportunities I necessarily had as a student that I wish I had. And I think that, once again, you can find a pocket and even just if you take away just a basic understanding of systems and go, I never knew that. That's how that works. I never knew wireless signals traveled this way, or that's how that worked, and I use it every day. That's a takeaway and something you can synthesize and use pretty much anywhere, because it's just basic problem solving that turns into advanced problem solving. You start with these fundamentals of things you use every day, and it just expands from there. And my advice would be just stick to stuff that you like and explore. There's, once again, I keep referencing the fact that you'll find something within computer science that really speaks to you, because unbeknownst to most students, they use these devices every day, and they wouldn't believe how engaging and interested they are on the actual academic side of it. If you just, set aside the games and other pursuits, just to learn about a little bit more of the underlying structures and technology that exist and that we use nonstop.
I couldn't agree more. Hey, this is an exciting field that you can be a part of. And so don't be intimidated by it. And it gives you a really good jump start, whichever pathway you might choose versus Ivy Tech, and then you've got the transition program to Purdue. So great opportunities for you. I encourage you to explore more. We're going to be offering an actual power hour where you can actually come and listen to them and see their presentation and hear about more things that they're doing in their courses. And so don't be shy. Sign up for computer science and you'll really enjoy those classes. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you the next time.